Board meeting to order for November 18th, 2019. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I believe we have some alterations, Patrick.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, pleases the board. You've been given a meeting supplement for this evening. Under added consent agenda items, we have 5E, special town board meeting, 5F, improvements, 2019-3 road improvements, tree removals, and MDA noxious weed grant funds. So those would be added to.
And we want to add one more under that. To move the exec board meeting placement
to a different location.
Hammond Road to.
It will be from 1281 Hammond Road to this address. And actually, what is the address here?
4220.
4220 Otter Lake Road, same time, same day.
Or 4200 Otter Lake Road, I'm sorry.
Okay. Heritage Hall, to accommodate construction going on at our administrative offices over 1281 Hammond. I also would submit to the board for consideration tabling item 8E, the clerk treasurer annual performance evaluation, in lieu of receiving the actual forms.
All right, and then we just have a couple supplements for item 8B and 8C.
Yes.
Any other changes or deletions?
Nope.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is approval of payment of the bills.
I'll move to payment for the payment of the bills.
Second that.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? And item 4, I need an approval of the minutes of November 4th, 2019. If anyone's got any changes.
I had a minor change that I was assured it was corrected this morning. I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion carries. Item number 5 is a consent agenda item. We have 8 of these. Unless someone has an objection to them, I would looking for a motion to approve.
I will move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right, moving on. Item 6A is old business. We have none. So we'll move on to item 7A, which is a public hearing. This is concerning an abatement of nuisance property at 2105 Stillwater Street. Start off, I would need a motion to waive the hearing, noting it's been properly published.
I'll move to note the proper publication of the hearing notice in the newspaper and waive the reading of the notice.
I will second that.
Motion's made, second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion to open the public hearing portion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, Patrick, are you going to handle this, or who's going to take this?
The 7A,
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the background.
that would be Mike, who has joined us this evening.
Okay.
Before the town board this evening is a resolution to abate the nuisance conditions at 2105 Stillwater Street. Staff is requesting the town board to approve the resolutions. If the property owner or representative does not have the list of repairs noted in the resolution within 30 days of service of the resolution, I will go through the list that is in the resolution of required repairs.
Mike, that would be 30 days from today? So are we talking?
Correct.
December 18th?
That's correct.
Okay.
Town is requesting removal of 2 dilapidated storage buildings, removal of tires, lawnmowers, snow blowers, plastic containers, dilapidated furniture, file cabinet, barrels, plastic buckets, bathtub, and all scrap metal and scrap machinery from the rear yard of the property. Town is requesting to restore all building utilities, electrical, fuel, gas, sewer and water utilities, install a water meter and the water meter radio reader, restore the building's heating, lighting, sanitary conditions to an operable condition, replace the overhead garage door, repair or replace the garage door trim, repair or replace the building's soffit and fascia, paint or restore as needed, repair or replace deteriorated window trim and window components, replace the rear entry door, replace all deteriorated exterior siding, paint or refurbish all exterior surfaces, remove all overgrown vegetation and noxious weeds on the property, repair or replace all dilapidated fence sections, obtain all the required permits prior to starting the repairs, complete and submit a vacant building registration form, and obtain a certificate of occupancy prior to the building being occupied in the future. That completes the list of repairs. I can answer any questions that you may have.
Mike, can you give us a little bit of background on this property? How long has it been vacant? And how long have you been sending out notices on this property?
The property has been vacant approximately 10 years. Town staff has spent many resources sending out notices, notices of violations on the property grounds and violation of the town housing code. Been working with them basically 10 years. Some efforts have been made. There has been progress. Again, it just continues to be in a deteriorated, blighted condition.
Are there any utilities on right now?
There are no utilities to the structure.
You said it's been vacant for about 10 years. Have there been any, isn't there a vacant building assessment or charge or fee?
The town does have a vacant building program. And the structure has been declared vacant.
But so far, they haven't been paying any vacant building fines?
There has not.
When you said it's made some improvement, the items that we list under 3 of the resolution, the things you quoted, those are remaining items that have not been addressed, or have some of these been partially addressed?
There was efforts to get started on the list, but the progress is insignificant.
Chad, would you like to go over the exact legal ramifications of abating a piece of property?
Sure, Mr. Chair. Once you adopt the resolution of abatement, if the issues aren't dealt with within the time frame set, then the town could order the property be demolished to satisfy the nuisance, to remove the nuisance.
And then that cost would be put on the tax?
Would be put on the tax roll.
I mean, I know the town never wants to go to this extreme on any piece of property, but we can only allow this to continue for so long before I mean, you hate to be this drastic, but it's getting to the point where it's not safe, and it's also a detriment to the surrounding neighborhoods, surrounding property owners. You have any other questions of Mike or Chad? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to open this up for public comment.
I'll move to open this hearing up for public comment.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. I understand property owner is here. If you'd like to come up to the podium, introduce yourself, your name and your address. Yep.
James Lopez, here from our mother, 3872 Elmwood Street, Fannis Heights, Minnesota, 55127. I've dealt with Mr. Johnson within a couple of years. I've been based on the East Coast and doing environmental safety over there. I've been trying to work with them, but I've been based on the East Coast, so then I put in for a transfer here to get back here to trying to resolve all these issues. So currently I'm here, based here now. And as he said, a lot of the issues he says about the storage and the file cabinets, all that's all been removed. The siding is there. The one of the windows been replaced. The other two are going to replace. The board that's there is replaced with 3/4-inch plywood. The doors are going to be addressed. The lawn will be addressed this weekend. I applied for an account for the through XL Energy to reinstate services, which I talked to. That's called the builder's call line, which they already started the process for that application. They said maybe 30 days, and then I have to get somebody to come and do a gas pressure line test on it, and then have somebody inspect the outside meter. So as of December 1st, I have the HAVC guy to do the pressure test December 1st. I called Mr. Johnson to find out what permits I'll need, but I haven't got a return call back. So that'll just stop in tomorrow, if I can arrange it with him tomorrow, and get what I need to get done. Like I said, I'm not here to give you excuses. I'm here to resolve the property issue, to get it restored the way it should be, to follow these guidelines to get things done. Basically, right now, the metal shed that's there was smashed by snow. The other green shed, part of the north side of it, got deteriorated. So at this point, I'm going to put a 3/4-inch plywood on that side. Everything else is structurally sound on that part there. Everything else is out of there except the claw bathtub, which my mother at the time was going to use as a flower bed. And everything else that, if you would have been over there today, is out of there, the machinery, the lawnmowers, 2 small tires that belong to a trailer. But everything else has been out of there already. The weed whack will be done this week. Mostly, like I said, I wasn't here at the time, so I was not the one dealing with Mr. Johnson at the time. It was my 2 brothers at the time. So basically, I took a job transfer and a lesser grade position to come back to take care of this issue here.
So is it your intent to fix this property and live in it?
Yes, it is.
So you're not going to try to resell it?
Pardon me?
You're not going to try to resell it?
No, sir. I've already got $27,000 of my own individual retirement account into it now. It actually just was doing a lot of cleanup, just a lot of stuff within the place. I originally took out 40, so I don't think that's probably could be enough, so I'm going to have to go back and take some more out. But at this point, I'm the only one my mom's 9 years old, so I'm the only one that's basically doing the stuff right now, all the rest of my family. So like I said, I had a great promising position on the East Coast, but I'd take a lesser job to get this done, which she's taken care of me all my life, and I owe it to her, you know.
Well, you understand the township's position here. This thing's been going on way too long. We should have been a little more stringent on this 5 years ago, and now I think how are you going to be able to meet this 30-day deadline?
Well, I've had other contractors that are working with me right now, so I have basically, the number 1 is basically all done except the claw tub. Restored Chili's already have the application already started, but they're saying it's 30 days, and basically they pushed it through faster than what it's supposed to be. and restore heating and light. I can't do it unless Excel gives me the power to go in there. The soffits would be done within 3 weeks. And it's basically the northern part of the back of the house. Replace the windows, that's 2 to 5 weeks. We're working on that already. The entry door within 2 weeks. The painting, won't be able to do it because it's the weather. It's not gonna adhere right for the paint. So basically, the siding won't be painted until come spring next year.
Well, I've noticed your siding's been laying on the ground a long time. I don't know if that's even salvageable anymore.
Oh, well, if it's outside in the elements on a house, it's got to be good there. And if it's not, then I'll repurchase it again. I mean, if it's to that point, then I'll just repurchase it all over again.
All right, Steve, you have any questions?
What did you say about the overhead garage door?
Well,
You're
the
replacing
overhead
that
garage
one?
door, when I first addressed it, it was the bottom panel that had some water when she came down. So what I did, I put a skin over it, and then I repainted that garage door. So the only thing left now is basically the trim that comes down maybe about a foot. But I was gonna replace that like I did the other side, and then put that piece there, and that would basically complete. I personally would like to replace the garage door because it's an old heavier door and on a spring-type loaded system, which are kind of dangerous. So in the springtime, I'd like to put in a door on there myself. So, but at the time being, I replaced that bottom panel, so it's good, and I painted it as well. So I'll just have that side trim to do on there.
And then the water meter and
That.
the readers, have you made any attempts to get that?
Well, no, I was gonna stop in and talk to the township and then find out what permits I do need and get all that so I can get that going. So, yeah, that'll put all that stuff in my name so I can get this all moving.
And then what about the fences?
The fences, the other gentleman behind me, he replaced that fence between our property and his property. And the only fence that I'm looking at may be one 4x8 panel, which is next to the house next to me on the west side. I have, I believe, 2 panels that are new that if whatever needs to be replaced, I can replace them with that.
But your intentions are to get that done within 30 days?
Yes, they are, sir.
Anything else?
No?
Scott?
You mentioned that you came from the East Coast to work on this, and previously your brothers had been interacting with the township. How long have you been actually actively working on improving the house?
I don't know. How long would you say, Mike, that we've been talking?
Couple years, I would guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
so I would come in and I have 5 weeks vacation, so I would take a lot of my vacation here, or then on weekends and maybe take a Friday and a Monday off and come in.
I'm sorry, I meant, when did you relocate from the East Coast to work on this?
Oh, about a year now.
So you've had about a year of being here and being closer to work on the house, right?
Right. And then in the meantime, I had an injury that occurred when I was working for the same company, but they basically bought out the other company. So then 2018 of August, 2018 of August, they operated on what they finally admitted happened at the job. So basically, they put a steel plate in my forearm. So basically, I had a non-union there. So all the time I was working on the house, I had a non-union they saw in 2012, which they finally fixed in 2018. And so I was couldn't really do too much because I was on workman's comp. And if I could do stuff there, then I could do stuff at my job. So that would have kind of conflicted with what I was trying to do. But every time I had a chance, I'd always would do something or hire somebody to do it and just kind of oversee it the best I could without trying to spend all the money that I had versus I could have a contract and money was gone like that.
I forgot what I was going to ask. Shoot. I'll
Well,
think of it.
one thing, you understand now that this is gonna go on the vacant building registry. You've gotten away for 10 years of it vacant, but as of, I don't know if we can start it this year, Mike, or next year, but that is a substantial cost. I think of what, 1,400 a year?
It's 1,100.
1,100?
Annually.
So that's gonna be imposed on you while this building sits empty. So it's to your benefit to get this thing up and running and get it
Right.
occupied.
Yes, sir.
It is actually condemned, correct?
Yeah, it's
It
not habitable.
is.
So you would have to investigate or review it before anybody could move back in?
So the dwellings, I don't know if condemns the right term. It's been determined unfit for human habitation. Prior to anybody occupying the building, the town would review and issue a certificate of occupancy, verify that the building meets the minimum standards.
Mike, would it be reasonable to, if he was able to accomplish this entire list under number 3 except for painting, is that, in your estimation, a reasonable statement that it cannot be done because of the winter conditions?
In my opinion, the painting would be the least of the issues on the property. So I think the town could certainly live with a spring paint job. There'd be significant other repairs that are highly more priority than the painting of the exterior.
Chad, what's the legal response? If he doesn't hit the 30-day requirement, where does that leave us?
No, you adopt resolution tonight. Resolution sets forth the conditions of the abatement, and if he doesn't meet the conditions of the abatement, you could have the right to demolish the house. I mean,
think
actually,
we-
the correct term is right to remove the abatement, to abate the nuisance, but normally in that situation, abating the nuisance means tearing down the house.
Then you understand that, correct?
Yeah, but I guess the only thing I don't have control is if utilities from XL. I mean, they, based on what I spoke to them, they submitted the application, which would have took a lot longer, but they submitted it as I was speaking to them. So they gave me an estimate time of 30 days. So when I applied for them online and that, it's called a FAST app, it was telling me December 18th. So then I just called back and talked to their, to the desk that actually does it, and then it goes to the designer, and the designer is the one who schedules the time to put in the meter. In between that time, they said I need the electrician to do the box, to check the outside
But you're talking about just to get power into the house.
and the gas, so I need to have the gas line pressurized.
Is the furnace operational?
I had to put a new furnace in there, so
Because, I mean, there are ways of working around that. You could start with a generator and
oh, yeah, no, and I am.
furnace tomorrow.
Well, yes, and I am.
Okay.
But I'm saying why this is happening, I'll be doing stuff in the inside, but for the most part is the aesthetics on the outside first and get that all finished. And then when that's completed, then to start working on the inside. And of course, yeah, I'll use a generator until that gets done.
I mean, I think in the town's history, I can only remember maybe one building we had to take down because of this. So, I mean, it's not that we want to do this, it's just, this has really gone on a long time, Mr. Lopez. So we really need this corrected.
Yeah, I know you do, and I appreciate any type of leniency that you can grant us, and I would greatly appreciate it.
Are there any other questions of Mr. Lopez?
No, not at this moment, but I'd like to hear from anybody else that has something to say, and I may have another question for you, depending on the
Good.
conversation.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you. Mike.
Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak to this application?
I really don't want to.
Well,
But-
just state your name and address.
My name is Terry Andrews. I'm at 2100 Stillwater Street. I'm across the street
Okay.
from Mr. Lopez. And I'm very sympathetic with the family and the situation. I've lived in my home 22 and a half years. For the last 10 or more years, that building has been unoccupied and not kept up. I have cute little front porch on the front of my house, and I look at the house, and I sympathize. I'm very upset because I don't want to take a neighbor down but we've been waiting so long for a correction. Last winter, there was a gas leak. I could smell it. I was nervous. Is there insurance on this house? It's vacant. Is there liability issues that could come forth? Because what happens if it blew up somebody's house or something like that? I think we've waited so long and we've been so patient. And again, I sympathize with the family and their situation and wanting to keep the house. But I think the lawn might have been mowed 4 times this year. And why should I work hard to spend my money to improve my house when I have to look at this every day?
And trust me, we really appreciate that. You know, a lot of times in the township, we don't know of issues until the neighbors actually say something. If it doesn't bother the neighbors, it kind of goes unheard to us, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this one's pretty flagrant right out in front of everyone. I mean, I know we've had moved cars out of there, and, I mean, and it's gone on way too long, and that's why we're here tonight, so.
Okay. And I appreciate you letting me speak, but like I said, I don't have anything against the family. It's a condition of the neighborhood. Our property values, our taxes are going up anyway, and we've been waiting a long time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Dave Johnson. I live at 2111 Stillwater, right next door to James's house. It's probably 10 to 15 feet apart. There's not a lot of room between us.
You east or west?
I live east of that,
Okay.
on the corner, the little
Right.
gray deal. You know, I remember 9.5 years ago, I got a new dog, and they were cleaning the backyard up then. And James's brother brought his mother over, and I could tell she was not happy that they were moving her stuff. And so I brought Ernie over to diffuse the situation, but she didn't go for it. So, anyway, and then there was her and her husband had health issues, so they were not in there. So for a while, I cut the front yard because I just didn't want to see it, go bad. But I wrecked the lawnmower, so I thought, I'm not going to do this anymore. And the fence fell down, so I put the fence up between us on the east side there of their house, which is fine. I needed, it's nice to have a fence, keep the dog in. And every now and then when I'd pay for a dog, the license, I would ask somebody what's going on, and then when James started getting involved, that was pretty good deal. Then he got hurt, so we didn't see it. And like Terry said, the lawn hasn't been cut that often. James's nephew, I think, would cut it once in a while, and James actually would fly out from the East Coast and cut it every now and then. So I know he's been trying. And I'm the one that called in on the gas leak. Can't remember who I called. And also, water was running one winter night, and I called in on that. So I don't see the house like Terry does because I'm right next door. There are no windows between, on my side. But it is concern. It's a concern. Like, what happens if it catches on fire? I'm going to lose my house. I notice starlings are pretty cool because I've seen them hover and then go right up into the soffits, so like a Harrier jet. But I don't know. I worry about what critters live in there, and the water table's so high. Hopefully the basement's okay. So I don't know what. In a perfect world, it'd be fixed, shiny. My value would go up. I could sell, move to the south, but it's not a perfect world, So I think the neighborhood would want it fixed, so it's nice. You know, if it was torn down, that'd be a pain in the butt for a while they're tearing it down. If they did and made a park out of it, that'd be nice. You know, let my dog in there. Anyway, so I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't know
Well,
what I'm
worst
saying,
case
but
scenario, if it really literally came to us taking the house down, that cost, like I said, would be assessed to that property, but then that property would go up for sale.
yeah,
And then it'd just be an empty lot that someone could put a new house on.
yeah.
Like I
But-
said, we don't really want to go to that extreme, but again, too, we're also not going to let it sit for another 10 years either. so.
Yeah. Well, isn't there a house on Division Street that went down in White Bear there? There's a house that's gone now.
Well,
so-
that'd be in the city, but I don't,
Yeah.
I think the townships only had to do this once, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
It's the last course that we really want to go there.
Oh, yeah, and I guess living next to it and knowing James, you know, I mean, he's a good guy. I'd hate, like Terry says, I hate to see something happen bad for him, especially moving here. But I'd like to see something happen to the property.
So would we.
You know, because I live right next door, you know, and I guess that's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Anyone else? Going once?
Well, I'll just say something really quick.
Okay, first you got to say your name and address.
Wendy Peterson, 2090 Stillwater Street. This family has been nothing but kind to everybody they know. They're very, very sweet people, and I'm really sorry about this whole thing. But if you can show them any leniency on any of this, that'd be really nice, because they're so nice people. They're very nice people, and I know they're trying, and now you're gonna try harder, I think. But I just wanted to say that, because they're very sweet people, and they've been good neighbors when they were living there, because I've lived there 35 years. And his mom and dad were the sweetest, nicest neighbors, and Dave knows, they're just nice people. So if you can show them leniency on any of this, that would be really nice, because I think they do really want to make it a nice place for them. But then again, you know, we have to look at it, and so that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Wendy. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, I would look for a motion to close the public portion.
Move to close the public portion.
I will second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
I,
All opposed? All right, we have an action item here to adopt the resolution ordering the abatement of the nuisance violations. And I think, like I said, it's been going on for a while. You're gonna have to see some real improvements, I think, in the next month to keep this from taking it to the next step. Chad, is there anything else?
Mr. Chair, if I may, since Mike's been doing the footwork or the legwork on this property and communicating with Mr. Lopez, and we've had discussion about timelines and some claims of repair and that kind of thing, I would suggest that the board, through Mike's discretion, establish some minimum guidelines to meet for 30 days to show that there's significant improvement. And if need be, leave it to Mike's discretion again to measure further improvement for the property within a reasonable amount of time after that if it has not been fully taken care of.
I agree 100%. I was just going to say something.
Oh, sorry, I stepped on your touchdown.
No, you said it much more eloquently.
Okay.
But I mean, I think there has to be certain, and you're going to be more skilled in noting this than I would, and you know what needs to be done to make it more habitable. I mean, again, your comment about the painting was the least of the issues. I'm sure you know what needs to be done.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I understand the opinion, the rationale, what's being said. Unfortunately, you can't really delegate your powers to Mike. What I would suggest instead is, if you want to work out some plan, that tonight, as part of the resolution, you decide which items have to be done first. Or you could simply request Mike report back to you within 30 days to give a progress report, and then you can decide whether or not you wish to
That's kind of where I wanted to go with.
continue.
Yes.
So we can revisit this in a month. We can't say 50% done or X, Y, and Z. I would just rather see how much effort really goes into this to see how serious they are about actually committing themselves to getting this thing fixed up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that,
I guess I didn't mean to hand the authority of the board over to Mike.
No, 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 it
here
was-
to his discretion as to what's a significant amount of improvement or not, to report back here within 30 days.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of logic to allow Mike, who's
Yeah.
the person on the ground to deal with this, but unfortunately, from the board it's the board's responsibility. So the best alternative would be simply have Mike report back in 30 days as to what progress Mr. Lopez has made, and then the board can decide if they wish to extend the time or carry through with the abatement.
well, we have a meeting on December 16th, so if we can have Mike come back then to give a overview to us, what's been done, accomplished. Would that work, Mike?
It does.
That work for the board?
Yes.
I guess I would still look for a motion to approve this abatement notice, though. I think we have to follow through with this to at least keep us on track to get this issue resolved.
And that's fine. There, just, and I'll make that motion. There's a typo in the resolution that I just want to note that it should be fixed on the second to the last item under 3, vacant building registration. It says from. I think it's a form.
4.
So
Form.
if you just note to
Yep,
fix that.
will do.
So, tonight, we're gonna move to adopt the resolution. Do we have to put that at the end, then, the caveat of revisit this in 30 days, or is that,
No,
Put that
no,
on the
I would
record?
recommend you don't put that caveat.
okay, so just read it as is.
Yes.
Because actually, we will be revisiting it 2 days before.
That's
it
true.
expires, so.
Good point.
Okay. So I'll move to adopt a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance violations at 2105 Stillwater Street, noting that the repair orders to be completed in the resolution must be done
Nature, what can I say?
within 30 days from the date of service of the resolution, which is today.
I will second that.
All right, motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, good luck, Mr. Lopez.
One last point. Mr. Lopez, you have to understand that there's no guarantee the board will continue this in 30 days. That's strictly up to the board's discretion. So it's important that you and Mike stay in communication and you show progress. I don't want to sound heavy-handed, but I mean, this has been an issue for a long time. As long as I've been town attorney, it's been around, and that's been a while.
All right, thank you, folks. Moving on, we have item 7B, Stormwater Pollution Prevention Program. This would be, Jim, are you gonna do this?
Yes. If you want to waive the reading of the notice.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it here.
I'll move to waive the proper publication of the hearing notice in the newspaper and waive the reading.
I will second that.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, then I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go, now you can go.
All right. Mr. Chair, members of the board, we've been doing this activity for many years here. Everything goes back to 2003, when the MS4 was designated with the township and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. We are able to get our permit for the township. That was reauthorized in 2013. And in 2018, we applied again and had got another renewal of this permit. So this is an annual activity where the township gets to talk about what they've done, what they plan to do, and then hold this public hearing tonight for the residents to have a chance to provide input or feedback on it. Well, basically, if you look at our requirements and accomplishments we've done through 2018 and 2019. We held our public hearing last year. We are holding the 2019 tonight. The township puts a lot of activities onto their website, and we also rely on both the Rice Creek Watershed District and Velamo for a lot of the educational materials. One of the items that is changing is, as opposed to just having connections to those watersheds, we are actually putting more of that information on the township's websites. Overall, the Utility Commission advises the town board on issues. We look at this at the beginning of each year for what projects we want to do. The township has made huge strides in updating their maps. We've turned everything into electronic systems now. We currently are out with the GPS unit, getting more and more of a GPS, GIS, where everything is getting digitally based onto our system. That we will be using with Public Works and others to help us monitor the maintenance that is being done, the improvements, and the conditions that our system is in. The town has a local water management plan that we lay out these activities. The town board, the building official, does the monitoring of the building sites. That's Mike. Each year, we review 20% of the storm system as required to be done, so that 100% of the system is looked at every 5 years. And that helps us determine what general maintenance and what larger projects we have to do. The township sweeps twice a year, once in the spring and in the fall. We hold our spring cleanup that was held on June 15th of this year. We continuously clean out structures and do general maintenance activity as we find them. And then every year, this one we submitted on June 25th, we have to put together the documentations of the year we did, of the work we did in the prior year, so that everything is documented. Overall, some of the highlighted projects we did this last year was also on Stillwater Street, the 2074 and 2082 Stillwater Street. We replaced catch basins and put in additional storm sewer in that area. On 5294 Portland Avenue, we replaced the culvert and a weir system there. Through our street project improvements we had on White Bear Parkway, Gilfillan Court, Weston Woods Drive, Parkview Drive, Fenway Court, and Hobie Lane, we made storm improvements on all of that activity as we did the road work. We've had actually Public Works reestablish some sediment pond locations that were at the south end of Otterview Trail, just north of County Road H2 and east of 35E. And then we're also working on, or did complete, the discharge failure of the storm system into Lampert Creek down at Pondview Lane. And then we also have some ditch work that was done with Williams Avenue between Buffalo and Oxy. I'm not sure pronunciation avenue on that. Some of the items you can see is going forward, we have a lot of outfalls that we're going to have to be making improvements, and as you can see, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that is of work that is still out there just with those and additional ditch improvements. The township has submitted for funding, and we did receive a grant through Rice Creek Watershed District, and we'll be doing some work along the south side of Bald Eagle Lake. So that was a good joint effort that work will be completed in 2020. And then just kind of walking through the township overall is just trying to improve upon communication to the residents, laying out the different stuff through our brochures, our notices, and one final component is tonight to open it up to see if anybody has anything that they would like to state for the township going forward or remarks on the past. We did not receive any written communications prior to tonight. So I guess kind of in conclusion, overall, we have really made a lot of improvements and leaps in setting up for getting the work done and making our stormwater system a better system.
Questions, comments?
I know it's been a busy year, busy 2 years here. So, no, I think it's pretty comprehensive what you've laid out. And I do understand that there's a lot of money to be spent on projects next year and the year after, and hopefully the grants will take care of some of that. But no, I have no other questions.
Jim, how much is the DNR involved in this? Do they really get involved in our ponds?
No, we really don't have any other agency components unless there's issues. How's that?
Okay, and so, and then all this goes to the MPCA, so they're basically in charge of this. We submit all our stuff to them, and then they review and recommend, and
Basically, they're monitoring us and following that we are doing what we should be doing. They don't get involved with the details other than to say that, hey, we are reviewing 20% a year, we are making improvements as needed, and we have plans to continue this effort. The documentation, as with everything, on an annual basis, we're showing we are doing what we said we would do.
and I hate to say this, but is the Met Council involved at all?
So far, the township is doing very well.
Tactful.
Yeah, I'm sorry I even brought it up. All right, how many ponds do we have? I know it's up there.
92 is one of the counts. The classifications and always makes it interesting, but yes, we're getting up close to 100.
It's got to be a full-time job in itself. All right, any other questions of Jim? All right, hearing none, then I would look for a motion to open up for public comment.
I'll move to open it up, the hearing up for public comments.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, is there anyone here that would like to talk about ponds?
Deb.
I want to talk about the drains, the sewer drains or the storm drains.
Storm drains? Sure.
First, you got to start again, reintroduce
Okay.
yourself.
Terry Andrews, 2100 Stillwater Street. The storm drains, I thought I read a while ago that there was information that people could volunteer to keep them clean. Did that ever work? Because I walk a lot and the storm drains are clogged and all the water is not going down.
Actually, Belamo has a really good program to adopt a drain.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I thought.
Now, the township falls under two watersheds. One's Belamo and one's Rice Creek Watershed.
Oh.
I think where you are, it's Rice Creek Watershed.
Okay.
And I don't know if they have the same programs, but Belamo does a really good job because they get funding for it, and you get a little plaque, you get to put your name on the drain, and so because leaves are not a good thing to be going down into our storm system, or
No.
storm sewers.
Well, and we don't really have a storm system on Stillwater Street either. All the water just goes into our
Runs.
basement.
Look at them all laughing. Oh, no.
No laughing. It's
But,
a
but,
challenge.
but on Bald Eagle, I walk down on South Bald Eagle Boulevard, and those storm drains are always clogged, and it's just like, where's
I would
it?
check with the Rice Creek Watershed. I'm sure they have something similar with Belamo.
Oh, okay.
And on the southwest side, you've seen the rain garden and the improvements that they made
Yes,
down there.
yes.
So there are actions, and we should have 2 more areas there. The improvements that we're gonna be making on the south side are gonna be chambers that are actually underground that'll collect the sedimentation that we can clean out before it goes into the lake. So there's,
So, The south side of Stillwater Street, you mean?
No.
No, of Bald Eagle Lake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we always got my ditch.
Well, if there's any improvements that can be made to our street would be highly desirable.
Again,
We have a lot of water in
They
our
also have
backs.
programs for rain gardens, too. They do a matching grant, so both watershed districts offer both of those, so.
And what was it called?
Well, it's rain gardens. You
Oh,
can either go
rain
through Velamo,
gardens.
which is the Vanis Lake Area Water Management Organization, or the
Okay.
Rice Creek Watershed. But I'm pretty sure you're in Rice Creek Watershed.
Okay.
And actually on Beaver Street, I think there was
Yeah.
Time too.
and there was a rain garden that got put in on one of the lawns, and they went through Rice Creek Watershed District for a cost share.
So that's, okay, because I have that ditch.
Rice
I could
Creek.
ask for help with it.
Correct.
So we'd have to talk to
Rice
Rice Creek, not you guys?
Correct. The funding goes through them. It would also,
Calling the township, we should be calling Rice Creek, is that what you're saying?
well, you'll be working with both entities, but the ticket is Rice Creek is gonna be the financial partner and help you through the design and everything like that.
They're gonna want to
So,
oversee your project and how it's designed, and
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the main question. I mean, if we get a phone call for this, we would have to talk to the Rice Creek or Velamo either way, right?
correct. It's the watersheds are the ones that really are the front runners with putting it together, because with these rain gardens, everybody wants to see them succeed, and there's actually a little agreements that are put together so that if you maintain it for so long and then lose interest, that something continues on. If ownership changes with the property or stuff, but they really are the ones that put together the design and help you determine what will work.
Well, then I couldn't drive in my ditch,
Probably not.
because they're,
You can adjust the rain garden to accommodate both
Well, how about if you
your
don't even
desires.
want a rain garden, but scout? That's my problem.
that's right, yeah.
all right, is there any other questions or comments to our engineer or town? All right, hearing none, I would look for a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
I'll move to close the public portion of the hearing.
And I will second that.
Motion's made, second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, this is just an informational presentation, so there's no formal action required.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, moving on. Item 8A, we have the building inspector construction activity report.
This is third quarter construction activity report. So the numbers are through September, obviously. We have, year-to-date, 6 new dwelling permits were issued with a valuation of just under $2 million. Compared to last year, through the third quarter, there was 10 new home building permits issued with a valuation of $2.6 million. Through the third quarter of 2019, there was a total of 381 building permits issued, just over $4.7 million in evaluation. Compared to last year, third quarter ending, there was 458 residential building permits issued, just under $6 million in evaluation. Commercial construction, the town has issued 12 commercial building permits, just over $2.3 million in evaluation, compared to the third quarter of last year. There was 21 building permits issued for commercial construction, just over $4 million in evaluation. Total building permits for third quarter 2019, 403, just over $9 million in evaluation. Compared to last year, there was 491 permits issued, just over $12.7 million in evaluation. We have a bar graph of the last 10 or so years of building permits in the township. Third quarter, each colored the number of permits by quarter. Just running behind on the last previous 4 years on permit totals. In this pie chart defines the number of all permits, electrical and plumbing and mechanical. As you can see, the majority is building permits over all 3 quarters, followed by electrical, and then the other plumbing and mechanical permits. That is all I had.
Well, Mike, seeing as how the township is about 98.5% developed, it doesn't surprise me that permits are starting to dwindle off a little bit, but, and obviously most of the new homes are probably the developments that are going right now, like the Three Oaks or.
In Deer Hills?
Yeah, and hasn't been progressing very aggressively.
Well, that one doesn't take off like the Pine Tree Hills one did.
It's not, that's
Deer Hills.
definitely true.
Deer Hills?
Deer Hills? No, it's Pine Tree Hills, right?
Pine Hills.
Yeah, Pine Hills.
We're both awful. Pine Hills. Deer Hills.
All right, any questions of Mike? All right, thanks, Mike. All right, moving on. We have a town engineer item, item 8B, the lift station number 10, rehabilitation.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this is a 2018 project. The Lametti and Sons was the contractor. They did get the lift station up and everything was running at the end of last year. We had the restoration to take place this spring. They worked on that some, and then we started experiencing some hiccups with the pumps that Lametti has been working on through the spring. That has all been taken care of. The system has been running properly. The very last touch-up with the restoration has been done. Both TKDA and Public Works have thoroughly gone through everything again and again to make sure we are all set, and we have signed off on all the work. The system has been running now for some time without any issues. So we are here tonight for the final payment. As you can see, the original project was for an amount of $330,300. The final cost is $285,675. So this is $44,625 below the contract amount. We are very pleased with the final product. The contractor has already submitted all their lien waivers, IC-134s, and necessary documentation to close out this project. So tonight, we are here for Lift Station 10, which is located at 2545 Buffalo Street. That's east of Highway 61. That everything is done. All the operation and maintenance manuals have been received, and Public Works is happy with the final product. Pay estimate number 6 is the final. That would be in the amount of $20,265.75 for tonight's action. That would bring that total project to the $285,675. So it took us a little while to get to here, but everybody's very pleased with the final product. And it came in, again, under budget, so it's a nice way to end with the project. So tonight, we are asking for authorization of the final payment to Lamedi and Sons.
Is there a discrepancy here? in the-
Oh, I should say, in the supplemental
Go to
packet.
supplemental.
Supplemental
Oh,
packet.
That's where I was just running to. I was gonna say, their
Sorry.
numbers aren't right.
So
I
my
should've
question is, what's the difference?
So,
And how was it found between the packet and tonight?
the expediting of the activity to make the packet deadline of 3 weeks ago.
Is this another spreadsheet error?
Oh, Tom's not, no. Dale's not
We
here.
tried,
It was an estimate based upon the departure of the person who organizes the board packet, was put in advance of the actual. So your actual is the supplement, right?
correct.
So no spreadsheet error.
She's looking for 20,000 something.
So, correct, in the supplemental, the final payment is $20,268.75.
And this is the accurate amount?
It
Correct.
is the one we are running with to the end.
Still doesn't sound very assuring. That's the one we're gonna run with.
Just
Yes,
rest
there were
it,
no further changes.
and it's under budget.
Yep.
Hearing that, does anybody feel comfortable making a motion?
Sure, I will.
It's okay.
I won't be tough on you. They've already beat you up enough. So I'll move to approve the final revised payment to Lamedi and Sons in the amount of $20,268.75, which brings the total construction amount to $285,675.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I will second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, write the check. Of course, I already probably signed it, didn't I?
You did.
Don't you know what you signed?
All right, moving on, under general business, we have item C is the audit service agreement.
Yes, after the 2018 audit with the results and the way that transpired, we decided as staff to do a request for proposal for audit services. We sent it out with a 5-year term with conditions that if we're unsatisfied, we can terminate the agreement during the 5-year period. We sent it out to a number of firms that specialize in doing governmental audits. 2 of them did not respond, which didn't surprise me because they're located in the St. Cloud area versus the metro area, and they're smaller firms. So while they do a couple of metro communities, it didn't surprise me that they didn't respond. The other 5 that did respond all have offices here in the metro area. They all were very similar in the number of hours they thought it would take to get our audit completed in the various years. And then we did hold interviews with all 5 firms. And based on those interviews, in your supplemental packet is a revised memo in which staff is recommending that the town board approve audit services go to MMKR and Company, PA. And some of the things we liked about them is they had a few more hours than some of the other firms where more of the senior audit staff would participate in our audit, as opposed to some of the other ones where they've got their staff accountants doing most of the work. Also, they, as I said, specialize in governmental audits, and so we'd have a dedicated staff people that would just be doing governmental audits, so they'd have very good knowledge of our process. I've actually worked with MMKR at a previous employer, and they served as my auditors at another city, and I was always happy with the work that they've done. And so, based on what we discovered or what we felt most comfortable with that audit firm, and would like the board to approve MMKR for the next 5 years. Our current auditors, Clifton Larson Allen, we've had for probably 25 plus years, because they were our auditors under a different firm name when I started here, and then through retirements and so forth, Clifton Larson Allen basically bought out the firm that we had, and they took over the audit. We've had a couple different audit partners on our audit as people have retired or been promoted up through the company. So it was time to do an RFP because one hadn't been done in, as I said, over 20 plus years.
Long past due.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I think you get into what's called contract creep. Well, if we don't do that, in fact, we've been talking about this in our exec meeting, to look at all our contracts, to maybe go out for RFPs, only because when you've been with somebody for so long, they gradually just keep increasing, so we have to do a little balance check on them once in a while.
Yeah, also, I think one of another critical component to the timing of this now is that amongst staff and finance and me, we talked about transitioning to when the day comes that Tom's going to leave, and we really wanted to establish a track record and foundation with a new group for several audits before he did decide to leave. So we wanted to do this sooner rather than later, just to get that footing in place. So,
Tom, where are they based out of?
their offices are, they list them as Minneapolis, but they're out on 394, kind of on that Golden Valley, St. Louis Park area.
Okay.
So,
All right, any questions of Tom?
You mentioned the big difference between the proposals is the staff time and the level of staff working. Is that the auditor staff or your staff?
the auditor staff.
Okay, and because they are new to the township, would that potentially mean additional township staff time getting them up to speed?
Not necessarily. The first year of the audit will probably take a little bit longer because they'll want to go through some of our internal control procedures, how we do things, learn a little bit more about the township to get a feel for what's going on. So the first year may take a little bit longer, both on their part and our part, but for the most part, the schedules are going to be very similar, and the work that we have to do is going to be very similar to what it's been in the past. So I wouldn't expect a lot on the township end, but I would guess that on their end, that first year, they're going to have a little bit more time in it than they will in the future years. And that's typical. And usually, when you do bid out audit services, you do it over a 3-year period or longer, knowing that they're going to have more upfront costs, and they can kind of spread it out over that life of that contract and not just dumping all their big fees in 1 year.
And knowing that there's going to be some upfront first year getting to know us bit, will you or have you already explained to them your expectations as far as timing and when they get stuff done?
Yes.
And when there's a final audit or final
Yes,
opinion?
that was all listed out in the RFP as to when we want reports finished, when we kind of expect field work done, and that sort of thing. And that is why this is before you tonight, because all the audit firms are starting to plan out and assign their audit schedules for the 2019 audits. And so we need to get this, or let the firm know that who we selected, and so they can get us into their schedules.
So in conversations with them and the other ones, I know the Clifton Larson issue was a lot, they try to do so much remotely. They've pretty much told you that they will be on site for the most part?
They're gonna be on site a little bit more. All the firms nowadays do accept a lot of the schedules electronically as opposed to paper. So as far as providing information to them, we'll still be doing that electronically, but they are actually they're planning on being out here for a full week. And actually, they told us they will have everything pretty much wrapped up when they leave, as opposed to having a bunch of items open and try to get them done remotely. And if they do have a bunch of items open by the time that week is done, they'll schedule time to come back and finish their audit.
Tom, do they do any other townships?
I don't believe MMKR does any other townships, but they were the one firm that, when we
that's
did
right.
the interviews, referred to us as a township as opposed to doing the city.
Oh, that's a plus right
That
there.
was noticed and appreciated.
So they don't see any hoops or anything to jump
No.
through because of the, okay.
We explained to them pretty thoroughly that the difference is that they'll, between a municipality and a township are largely administrative. Financially, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah. And they've done the White Bear School District for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What'd you have?
I was just going to say, if they're going to be out here for a full week and expect to get everything wrapped up, then I guess that kind of sets your schedule for that week then.
Yes.
Can't go
Mine
in.
and Lynette's.
Well, I was going to say, you pretty much won't have anything else going on then.
It depends.
Okay.
It really depends on what we can get done as far as the schedules and how things are balancing out and what they're finding.
Okay.
All right, any other questions, comments?
The agreement itself, does Chad have to look at that? Or has he?
I actually read it last night.
Oh, that must have put you to sleep.
No, I have other things to work on.
No.
It looks
So,
fine. I mean,
it's
it's
fine.
pretty standard.
Yeah, it's pretty standard for audits, and they'll actually send us an engagement letter that we'll have to sign off on. That'll actually give us the details of what is expected and everything.
So it will clearly spell out that if we're unsatisfied with those services, we can get out.
It's in there.
Just, okay, that's
It's in there. It's pretty clear.
pretty clear. All right.
All right, hearing that, do I have a motion to accept this recommendation?
I'll make a motion based on the finance officer's review and recommendation, approve the MMKR and Company PA Audit Service Agreement for full audit services for a term of 5 years.
I will second that.
Motion's made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on, we have item 8D, the compensation agreement.
Yep, Mr. Chair, this was the agreement that staff has put together in conjunction with Whirlpool Reynolds regarding their management of, I guess it was a Superfund site, wasn't it, over?
I believe so.
Yeah. And we put that forth for your approval tonight. I would add as a caveat to whatever resolution it is that you adopt, that the caveat be subject to final finance and attorney approval before enacted.
Well, actually, I actually drew this up, so I know what it says.
Well, they've been going back and forth with some details, I guess.
I know, but I approved the detail, they've kept me informed of the details. I'm satisfied with the agreement. There's only one clause that's missing, it's a very simple one, is the issue is what to do with the years 2017, 2018, which were never paid, never collected for. And my recommendation there is simply, we'll calculate a lump sum and then we'll simply add that lump sum to the compensation agreement, and that'll be it.
That was one of my questions, if it was retroactive or how far back you wanted to go. And they're okay with that?
Yeah, they've seen the form.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Scott?
So my questions are, a meter will be maintained to record the actual volume. Who's going to monitor that meter?
Township probably would at that
I would
point.
assume we would, yes.
Yeah.
So it has to be our meter.
Well, I think that's what was one of the causes of this happening, going off the rails before, was there was a meter, and Whirlpool was supposed to tell the township, and they didn't, and we forgot to ask. So I want to make sure that that is understood, because then a corollary is, how are we going to bill them? If we are monitoring the meter, okay, fine, that's great. We'll see how many gallons there are, and we'll bill them quarterly. But in the past, Whirlpool had to tell the township how many gallons there were, and if they forgot, we didn't bill them.
Well, that's a good point, and I presume that Public Works had that worked out, but I think we should probably go talk to Public Works and find out exactly who is monitoring the meter, and add that language.
I think that would be great, because my follow-up question would be then, if Whirlpool, for whatever reason, monitors the meter and they tell us the volume, what happens if they don't send us anything? Which, again, is just history repeating itself, and it happened more than once, which kind of got us into this issue.
That's why I think we should be monitoring the meter. The township should.
That would be great. That would answer my concerns then.
Well, follow up on that though, Scott. How old is this meter? Does it have to be replaced?
Oh,
And
Did
should
it come
be-
from census?
and is it a radio control?
It's a flow meter. Basically, it's like what the MCES monitors all the communities, because they're dumping right into the MCES system. And what happened was they have to report, or I think it's the MCES reads the meter, supplied it to Whirlpool Corporation, and then they would supply it to us. Well, the person that would supply it to us went out on medical leave. Judy left on retirement, so we had everybody leaving and everybody forgetting.
Well, would
And
they have a problem with us reading the meter versus them then?
I don't know that we have the capabilities to read it. As Chad said, I think we're gonna have to talk to Public Works to see if we have
At the very
the
least, they should be sending
ability
it
to
to us
read it.
directly.
Is it their meter or is it our meter?
Well, sounds to me
I
like
think it's theirs.
Is it not Whirlpool's, but it's actually, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Met Consols.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're reading
right.
it, as he said, and
So if
giving
it's their
it-
meter and they're reading it, why can't they give that number directly to us?
I think that's what we were relying
Well,
upon
I-
before.
Yeah,
And-
it's a very goofy system, because even though they're reporting it to the MCES cannot bill them
Right.
and collect it from them,
we're in the middle.
so we have to bill them and collect it, and it's
I just want to have that safeguard in place.
Yep.
You're absolutely right.
The other item I noticed, I just want to double check with you, Chad, is on page 2. It says, "No amendment to this agreement shall be affective, AFFECTIV."
Yeah, it should be effective, you're right. My assistant does that, so I check these things.
Don't tell your assistant I checked it.
I tell you, you get the gold star this time.
Good for you, Scott.
You're right, no, it should be effective.
Okay.
Got any more gotcha moments? Well, I think this is kind of a critical issue, though. We need to make sure that this
Yes.
just doesn't fade away again on us.
I think it'll be brought up at the utility meetings periodically.
Maybe.
I think you can count on that.
All right, so see, this is the utility commission issue.
Yes. So, based on Utility Commission, Town Attorney, and staff review and recommendation, approve the compensation agreement between White Bear Township, Whirlpool Company, and Reynolds Metals Company. Can I say, subject to clarification of meter reading capabilities?
Yeah, I was going to recommend that, so yes.
Okay.
That's a very good
All right,
point.
motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, that motion carries. Let's see, item E, we are going to table to the exec board meeting on the 22nd.
Here.
You want a formal motion for that?
No, that's okay, just, we're fine.
Provided he gives us the forms.
All right, item 9, added agenda items. I believe we've covered everything. So item 10, we have open time. Have a couple of guests left. Want to come up and say hi? Hearing none. Item 11, receipt of agenda materials and supplements. Do I have a motion?
I move to receive the agenda material and supplements.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Second. All right, we are adjourned at 8:22.